Hello, everybody. It's me, ReaperSteve, and I'm joined by Jammer. How you doing, Jammer?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Been a good day
Perfect.
so far.
You've been we had a really good day. We'll come on to your really good day in a second, though. My round is over. We are going to jump straight into the first round of EsportsWales' first start at ESEA, for us at least anyway, watching them. I know I think they've already played one game prior to this against a team called Family. It's a 16-12 loss on Nuke. But yeah, I mean, we're going to jump straight into the action as far as Mirage is concerned against VSE. Kind of looking forward to this one. Our first step back into the fray after your break from commentary and my break from commentary for a bit. Like we almost did it in line with the player break, but without really realizing that we were doing it in line with the player break, which is even better.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk it? But yes, the break is over for you and I. Move us into this anyway, Jammer. I jammed it on for too long.
I can't see the game, unfortunately. Are you showing the wrong screen?
I should be. Well, that's strange.
It's a bit of a scuffed start.
Yeah, it is a bit of a scuff start. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. I can
Yeah.
see.
Yeah,
There we
apologies. I've no idea why, but that just did not want to work there. Let me know if that's all working for you, though, mate. Can you see everything?
I can. All right. Well,
Perfect.
it does seem like Tan haven't had the best of start, just like us, and it is just. Oh no, wait. The teams are backwards. Tan are doing well. They won.
Tan are doing very well. Yeah, they are. I'm waiting for the HUD to swap itself back over, but it doesn't seem to want to. So I'm going to have to do it myself by hand. So bear with.
In fact, Nick, you might need to take over for a minute because the names are too blurry to see. So I'm going to open the GoTV.
Okay, perfect. There we go. This is the most scuffed start to a broadcast I think you and I have ever had.
Yep.
There you go. Right. Anyway, moving forward, pushing into the first round at least. Anyway, that was a good start from Team Tan. They took a lot of dominant control into B site itself. From memory, and obviously looking at the way the players are stacked up, I remember it being quite a favourite of Tan itself anyway, to still head in that direction. So kind of nice to see them still using the same old tactics as before. Ollie is making his way into A site, however, and little does he realise he's going to take it completely unopposed, and he is starting to call the rotation ready around from the rest of his teammates. Ollie should be in a good position to stop anyone from pushing through here, and Freestyles and Ollie will split the difference against VSE. Not a bad start. Very good start indeed from Team Tan. Doing quite well, making good use of the economy that they're building up slowly there in the background, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see Shaney potentially not buy in deep into this round, stick with the SMG and potentially look to buy an open into round 4 if things continue the way that they are for Team Tan, at least anyway. How are we looking, Jammer?
It's loading in now, but I can see the stream. Well, I can see what the stream sees. Sorry, so
Perfect.
I can at least comment, and it's always a great spot to be in as a caller and as a team when you're just pushing out and getting the kills across the board, and it does make your life easier. They are going to be able to do a similar thing on B, but it seems like the smoke of the push has been taken out, and it's just left onto Ryback. He doesn't have the bomb control, but he's going to try and maneuver his way around, picking up 2 kills. And he's given himself a lifeline. There is a little bit of time for him to work his way back to the bomb, but it's whether he has the game sense to know where these last 2 players are. I think he's got info for one, and he's trying to spot out the second, but it's not going to work out. And that will be Tan losing their first round.
Indeed it will. Couple of seconds obviously behind here, but we should be now ready to rock and roll. I'm assuming you're now in live. Now. Perfect. Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. Again, it wouldn't be you and I if it wasn't like a scuffed broadcast, right? I mean, that's how we do.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to be a very quick opening onto Pommy. He'll be a bit disappointed to be taken out like that, but it's on the rest of Tan to make up for things now. They are able to push the AWP back off the mark with a bit of utility, but a Mantis advantage, and even the health being this low, it's definitely not the strongest start for Wales in this gun round. There's an MP9 on the board, and that will mean that it's a little bit harder to pick up those kills, but there's chip damage as well to counter that point, and I'm just going to counter myself until we get to the end of this round. Shaney will be able to pick one up, but he takes an over-aggression and falls. That's a 1-for-1 trade, and things remain in VSE's favour. this CT side is starting to be a bit formidable as there's only 2 players left and they're both stuck in Palace. This is not the optimal place to be pushing out of, but they can definitely get work done. It is going to be, unfortunately, the AWP holding down that position, and he'll be good for a triple in that round. So VSC, they're starting to mount a kind of solid CT half here.
Yeah, they are. They're putting sort of your danger players in the right positions, which is quite nice to see. You know, when you're on the back foot on T side of Mirage, you know, it's nice to see that you can kind of pick up the pieces like VSC have. They've made good use of the info that they're gaining from mid control. You know, Shaney's really good at pushing through and getting that early pick into connector. He takes that over aggression, and that gives all the information for VSC that it's going to be a mid commit to A, and they then can rotate players into a good position to block that off. And it just so happens they're ready for players to push out from Palace.
Yeah, it kind of just felt like Wales were scrambling to try and pull back the deficit from the very start of the round, and they just weren't able to make anything happen. Doesn't seem like they're going to be able to get much done with this eco. There is 1 death on the CT side, and they'll be happy with that, but maybe you could have wanted a little bit more. That would be Shaney falling, and VSC, you know, their starting to look pretty good, but that over-aggression could come back to haunt them.
Yeah, it could. It really could. Because this is the thing of it, and you know, Mirage is one of those maps that will you know, make or break a team if they're able to hold that aggression in a decent place. The minute they start to oversell themselves a little bit too much, the minute they kind of like step themselves over that little bit too far of a mark, is the minute that Team Tan can really switch it up on them and then start to dominate back off the back of it. It takes that one sort of, you know, 1 or 2 round mistakes coming in from VSC for Team Tan to kind of swing that dominant force back into play that we saw from them early on in the round.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. Vex hitting a nice shot through the smoke, and that's a good answer back from Pommy. Able to double up on that, and that's going to weaken the B site a whole lot more. But there are 2 more players left to find, and they are, well, they should be finding it, but it's awkward. The van fight is going to finally come to a conclusion, and it's just going to be Kingy left from VSE to recover things. But EsportsWales Tan, they made some good moves to get to the B site there.
Yeah, they really have. They've done quite well. Again, B site seems to be a favoured place to position themselves on this map for Team Tan. Saw them do it quite well in the last or in previous seasons of ESEA. I know you and I didn't cover Team Tan all that often last season because we were working with a different org, but from watching a few of their matches that have been broadcast by like the players from their you know, perspective, it's good to see that the old tactics haven't kind of, you know, gone away from them. They know how to clear the site very, very quickly. Once they've got good mid control, they can swing themselves through into short, and you know, it's over before you know it, more or less, really, from a CT perspective. If you lose that kind of control.
Yeah, it really is, and this is going to be a pivotal round because you can see the CT economy is not in the healthiest place. They are able to scramble together a pretty healthy buy. Don't have all the bells and whistles they could want, but this can definitely bring them a round win. It's just a matter of keeping players alive and trying to win it convincingly. But EsportsWales Tan, they're going to make it as hard as possible. But Shaney walks out into the waiting arms of Kingy. There is a trade in the works, and that will even things out. Now, a 1-for-1 trade usually favors the T side, but it's just about how EsportsWales Tan can take advantage of that. Pommy, he's going for more aggressions in middle, and that's going to be a big pickup to get. That puts VSE really on the back foot here, as they're going to try and maneuver into a stronger position for themselves. It is going to be a gamble situation as they try and move towards A. There is 1 player in the ladder room who can put a spanner in the works, but the bomb is in middle, and there's a world in which it could get dropped and make things awkward for Tan. Now we're going to start to make moves towards A, in fact, warding themselves off B, and that seems to be a perfect rotation.
Yeah.
There is 1 player in Palace, and that's the AWPer, so if they're not, you know, on their wits, then they could get caught out, but it's a safe enough situation for now. Post-plant, however, is another question. It is a 2 versus 4, but still anyone's game. Baldy gets naded down, but as you can see, it's a 2 versus 2 straight back into the fray as the AWPer chimes out loud. He's going to be able to connect a couple of shots, not bringing any kills just yet, but the information that's gained means that VSC can definitely play around this, and now it's just Pommy. He's not in the best spot, but he gets the first. He's got 1 more to find. Taps the bomb. Not able to see it just yet, but he's going to move out into position, and that's going to be Tan falling just at the last hurdle there. Pommy unable to close it out. He's played well so far. Unfortunate not to get that one there.
Yeah, he played extremely well. I mean, Pommy, again, it's one of those sort of players that you and I have been watching grow and grow and grow over the last couple of seasons. In different tournaments that we've been, fortunate enough to take part in as well. And he's definitely a force to be reckoned with when he's, on the money and he's ready to kind of do whatever he wants to do to put out, as much pressure on different opponents. But yeah, he's played extremely well so far to get that mid control. And then again, while pushing that mid control, he's super eager to make sure that his off lanes are covered as well. He's conscious that there's going to be people potentially around and behind, and he seems to be the first player to really switch it up and go for those extra frags.
Yeah, Hyphen falling in middle, but that's a double spray down into the apps position, and that's going to halt this push. They're just kind of stalling, and that's not what you've got to do. If you're pushing B, you need to commit, you need to push out together, and they just aren't able to get out of the choke points, and that is going to be their downfall. VSC, they were even late out of spawn. If they just put an accelerated pace on that push, they might have got an opening, but it's just not going to work out as Udfex can close the round out. VSC are starting to, build up that economy a little bit now.
Yeah, definitely. They really are. Starting to flex that cash as well. We saw that all come into play quite nicely. Again, as you mentioned, they were slow out of CT spawn, but it didn't really seem to phase them. With the speed that they didn't get to sight on, they were able to, maintain and lock things down because of Tan's inability to kind of dominate off that speed aggression that they could have had. It happens sometimes in CS. You will have teams that will stifle and make that little bit of an initial mistake, and then all of a sudden it'll start to snowball. Let's just hope that Tan can turn it around into the later stages of the first half.
Yeah, VSC, they're getting bags of information in middle, and they're going to be able to quick rotate off this pistol push. It doesn't seem like Tan have the most optimistic outlook for this one. There's just a Glock and a flash left on this player. You will get taken out, and that's VSC doubling Tan's scoreline now.
Yes. Winning the first half very early on is key, especially if you're on CT on this map. I think we'll all agree that Mirage is a very overplayed map, but if you can win CT this early on in the first half, then you're in for a good second half at least. Anyway, you've got a lot more room to kind of maneuver and a bit more room to breathe than the switch in CTs.
Yeah, it does seem like Tan are having real trouble with VSC's AWP Udfex.
Mm-hmm.
He's been having a stellar performance so far, and if they can't ward him off these cheeky kind of one-way smokes that he's been using, then it's definitely going to be an uphill task for them to complete. That seemed like VSC, they're going to go for middle aggressions, and Pommy, he's waiting with open arms. He's done this before, getting multi-kills in middle, and yeah, that makes things so awkward for VSC. They drop one guy, and they need to fall back because it's just too awkward for them to hold. Great work from Pommy there.
Yeah, definitely. Again, he's just super aggressive, isn't he? It's kind of what we've come to expect from him, more or less, is making use of good dead ground to get himself into really aggressive positions. But he is a man alone at the minute on mid, and that can sometimes spell a bit of danger for him in some ways. If he takes off or bites off too much more than he can chew. But he's got to clear these sort of dead angles to get himself into a better position to assist the push on to A. He's not going to have the time to, unfortunately. Yeah, as he said, Udfex has been very, very dominant with that AWP so far.
Oh, that's a nice initial kill, but it's going to get traded out, and that's a 3 versus 3. Yorper is going to push through, but he's not going to do the one doing the damage. As 2 AK kills get pulled out, Shaney gets shut down finally, and that'll bring VSE to 7. That happened way too fast for you to even keep up there, but it seemed like in a flash, Tan just kind of paused on the A site, and that's where it all fell apart.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand the game sense or the game idea that Tan have really pushed out in this first half, because it doesn't seem to be working whatever they're doing at least anyway, but it just feels like they're very sluggish. It feels like when they are making these sort of maneuvers, they've been extremely sluggish. It's awarding VSC so much more room to maneuver with it and so much more room to prep for the push through, and all of a sudden you're having a buy round where you'd expect Tan to be able to pick up those early frags, pick up those quick kills, and they're not able to. That's an eco round completely done and dusted with from Tan, and there was nothing off the back of it. It just felt like it was a throwaway round, and that's the way they treated it.
Yeah, Prezic just able to clean up that 4K nice and easy. It's almost like a shooting gallery, shooting fish in a barrel, and all the other metaphors that you can think of. But yeah, it kind of rounding back to what you were saying, it does kind of seem like Tan don't have the conviction right now to be able to make these rounds work. We've said before, time and time again, you can call a bad strat or a strat that shouldn't work, and as long as the team does it with conviction, as long as they believe in it, any strat can work.
Yeah.
And right now, it kind of seems like the opposite of that. They're coming up with some, decent enough ideas. It's not a bad game plan by any means, but just the lack of conviction and, finesse in the execution is just leading to their downfall. As I'm, singing their downfall, though, they're going to get a double through connector, and that should open up the A site. I'm not sure if they're aware of the third player on the site there, but it does seem like VSE are able to answer back for two of their own. The lurker and even the player in middle being taken out. Shaney, though, he's in a very advanced position, and as long as Tan can eliminate the guy in Palace, they should be okay. Prezik, he has made his location known. Just whether Tan can look into where he's pushing and play around it together. Shaney gives him the one-on-one, but he wins it this time, and Tan, they're able to recover one.
I feel like that was it was a round of the board is a round of the board, but it was a scramble of a round, let's be completely honest. Not hearing that cover man in dark kind of, that could have been disastrous from Team Tan. They were very lucky on those 1v1 fights to pull them off and make good use of VSE's maybe a little bit, shouldn't look for being a little bit overzealous with that behold.
Yeah, looking on the bright side, it was really just the individual players' heads up, plays that won that round for them. But like you're saying, it's not a reliable way to win rounds.
No. You can't sustain round wins like that. Throw in 3 guns down essentially. This is why the economy is the way that the economy is at the minute for Team Tan. Ollie and
those are
Shaney,
two big openings. That's really good from Tan there. Shaney and Ollie doubling up, as you said, but Voldigode, he's trying to double up for 2 of his own, and he gets bomb control with that as well. That's a really, really big spanner in the works for Tan. Just as things were looking up, it gets taken right back away from them. They're able to bring it back to a 2 versus 2, but with the loss of bomb control, the odds are really not in their favor. They're going to try and push their way up short, but Kingy, he's hidden the E-box, and it's going to have the info. He gets the first, not able to, trade up EsportsWales Tan, and that means that VSE, they're going to, start to run away with this half already.
Yeah. Again, this is what I was saying early on. If you can win CT first half like this, in quite a dominant fashion, where you're 5 rounds difference, potentially 6 rounds now as we head into this, last but 1 round. It's it's only going to pay dividends as you head into your T side, especially if Tan aren't able to be as locked in, as I was going to say togetherness, but you know what I mean? If they aren't playing this as synergetic as we would want them to be. Right. Yeah, exactly. See, I do know what I'm saying half the time. It's just getting it
finding
out of my,
the words to say it right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm an old man. Leave me alone.
Well, it seems like Tan are going to brute force their way onto the A site. They have gained some control, but VSE, they're not going to give them any space to work with, and there is a huge hole in that jungle smoke. Tan should start to realize that, and they're not going to push into the angle, wisely so. One will go down, but Shaney goes for an over-aggression. He gets taken out. There's another trade. Freestyles can answer back, and VSE, they seem to have crumbled. It's all on Voldigode. I don't know how to say his name, but he's fallen as well. He'll get a posthumous kill from Pommy. And it's just awkward right now. I was going to come back to you and question the force on the 14th round, because obviously you don't have money for this following round, but because they win, don't even need to look at that situation.
It's that is like the most double-edged swords, isn't it? You're right in what you're saying. Do you really force on 14 and pray that you pull it back like that? Obviously it's worked out this time for Tan, and that's fantastic, but that's such a 50-50 round where if it goes the wrong direction, you're pretty much screwed for the final round, and it's going to be 2 back-to-back losses to take you into the second half. But Tan come out on top, which is nice to see for a change, as opposed to the last sort of better part of this first half of us saying that there needs to be differences or improvements.
Yeah, absolutely. It does seem like Tan, they're going to bring one final round back to the claws on the final round of the half even. So, I mean, there's never a late time to do it, but if they can do it now, it will definitely be key or instrumental, if you would. But both these orbs are actually getting damage done, and it's a while since the bomb's been, retrieved. So they're gonna reposition back towards the B site. Ollie's just gonna try and play the goose on the A site. Keep them here for that much longer. They will start to realize now, VSE, that it is going to be the B bomb site is where we're going to end up. But I kind of want to say it's still anyone's game. They've retrieved an AK.
Look at Ryback's position.
It's just whether they consider this. Oh, I think they saw him, but it doesn't matter because he doesn't have the AK out. That's such a small, minute detail, and it's just completely lost VSE the round.
That is the perfect use of info right there. Like, he sat in that position for the longest possible time and was just like, okay, you do what you got to do to get over there, get the bomb planted. That's perfect. I'm just going to sit here. It worked out perfectly. I mean, that's exactly what we, what we like to see from Team Tan, at least anyway. Mm-hmm. Thoughts on the first half, though, from you?
I mean, it's obviously early days in the season, and they're going to have a bit of ring rust on them. So I'm not too surprised to see that, there's a little bit of conviction or lack of conviction, or hesitancy. But, as we're warming into things, it does kind of seem like Tad are relying on these individual plays to win them rounds. And, that's just never going to be a consistent way to win.
No, definitely not.
Not unless you FaZe Clan.
No, yeah, well, yeah. Not unless you FaZe Clan. As if that would be, as if that would ever be, the way that these things work. I think going into second half, though, 6 rounds on CT, certainly is recoverable, at least anyway. I think you'd agree. It is just a case of, how much room to maneuver VSE allow Team Tan to kind of have.
Yeah. So, obviously on the T side, you get to dictate the pace, but the CT side is really where Tan could shine. And I say that with a glimmer of hope because, we were talking about those individual plays, and the CT side really does give you options to have those individual plays and make those kind of gimmicky moves work. But it doesn't seem like VSE are going to, try and give them the option because they're just going to go for a Palace Explode. And this is a strat that's definitely a favorite of mine. Wait to see if they can make it work, though, as the exit gets put into motion. Tan, they're going to have a quick rotate here. So who hears who first? Cheney, he's completely unaware. He gets taken out. Udfex shutting him down, and they're just going to push through CT. The bomb should get planted momentarily as Ollie gets taken out, and that's the kit dropped as well. It seems like Tan are going to reposition towards the CT area. This is where the war is going to happen. All out fighting, gang street wars in action right here in CT. It does seem like Tan are falling every angle, though. Freestyler's only able to answer back for one, and that's a really strong pistol from VSE. Yeah,
it's a massive pistol. You want to lead off on your front foot. That is the way to do it. Yeah, I mean, obviously we're early days into the first half, but 10-6, 9-6 is recoverable, 10-6 is recoverable. But if Team Tan don't do something early on, like put your sort of dominant players in the right positions and try to do. I can't remember which team it was. I literally watched them a couple of days ago on a demo. Unless you can kind of put your decent players into a strong position to kind of block off VSE and not give them any options, you're going to really struggle, to try and recover these rounds early off. Look at the way the VSE have placed themselves, though. They still have the option of rotating through to mid if they can take mid control back, but they've still given them, they still got other options as well. You've got players that are pushing all the way through. They're trying to feel out Team Tan's defensive plays, where is best suited for us to kind of play into this. I can't pronounce his name, but it's number 7 for us, at least anyway. Prezik.
Oh, Prezik.
Prezik,
yeah,
there you go. Prezik, kind of feeling things out towards A site. Obviously, the gunshots over towards B and mid, that will start spreading players out from Team Tan, but Prezik hasn't made a single noise as of yet. And I don't think Pommy realizes that, it's going to come, and it's going to come very quickly, and it's going to come at him very, very quickly as well if he doesn't, do anything to prevent it from happening. Oh, Ollie, oof. This is it
that
now.
That could have been something.
Just unlucky Pommy there.
Yeah, well, what could have been something ends up being nothing as Tan, they dropped 2 players. They did initially get that opening frag, and, even though VSC have the man advantage, they don't have a lot of health to work with. Tan could definitely make something of this. I don't think there's a kit close to them. But there you go. The retake's on. They're going to get the first. They can trade out for the second. And suddenly it's a 2 versus 1. this last player from VSC is very low as well. Udfex, he is the top fragger on the scoreboard. And he's just going to push through the smoke. Oh, they're unaware. That's so unfortunate. And he's made the perfect play. Oh, that's so good. P250 making it work. 7 HP. Doesn't matter. This man's going to put some work in. And that's really unfortunate for Tan.
Oh, that's all Tan for me. And it just feels like they're falling apart. You know, before it even begins, it feels like it's very much written, you know, for this to be a VSC win, and unfortunately a second game loss for Tan as they start their intermediate season off, which would be most frustrating. But there are plenty more matches still to come from them. You know, they've got games coming up on the 22nd, 24th. It is just a case of trying to perhaps watch some demos, pick up the pieces from this one. You know, it's not like we haven't seen bad things from them. We've seen, you know, some shaky beginnings and shaky starts, but yeah, I think there's a lot to learn from this match.
There is a lot to learn indeed, as Tan gets sent back to the drawing board almost immediately. It's just a classic B rush, but the mauling arm of VSE is just too much for them to handle. And, you know, it is the early days, like you were saying. You know, there's a lot of time for them to go back to the drawing board and work on things, but you know, it's always, you know, the kind of situation where you want to be in the spot and say, you know, we made it respectable, lads. And to do that, they need to get some CT rounds on the board.
Yeah, you really do.
It is going to be another B rush here. And this time, Tan, they have more equipment to work with, but they can't do anything with them. The MAC-10s are just singing out and picking up the frags. That's so unfortunate. My heart goes out to Tan on that round, because we've all been in that situation where you're sitting on the B site, you're like, all right, boys, they rushed last round. We didn't have the rifles and the nades that we wanted. This round will be different. They do the exact same thing and you still get rolled over. Well, it is going to be a save here from Tan.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if VSC do the same strat.
Yeah, neither would I. I mean, if it's not broken, you know, don't fix it. You know, that's the old-fashioned saying. I'm an old-fashioned guy, but at the same time, yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Ollie'd be happy to pick up one at least, but I mean,
how did Ollie survive that?
I have no idea.
No idea.
I don't know.
You know what? As long as they're building confidence, I'm totally happy. Like, I'm totally okay with that. As a coach, if I was in that server, I'd be like, boys, why are we taking fights we don't need to? But
yeah, like, there's no need for him to take that fight. Let's be completely honest. But I mean, yes, it's nice to get the frag off the back of it. Is it risky? Incredibly. Was he incredibly lucky? Yes. Did it work? Okay, you know, like that's probably going to be the mindset from a coaching perspective for Team Tan at the minute. Pick those extra frags if you can get them, but at the same time, don't try and lose your rifle. You know, goes without saying. Anyway, pushing forward, VSE are still on the front foot. You know, trying to do as much as they can to stifle Tan's defense. Mid control is just back and forward in this game so far. I think you'll agree.
Yeah, it is very back and forth though. Tan, they've made some good opening moves here. It was a little bit awkward for Pommy and Freestyles to pick up their frags, but you know what? They're a two-man advantage, and I'm sure they're happy for it.
Yeah.
That will make VSC slow things down here. They reconsider their options. It does look like Bomb's going to be towards the A site, but you know, there's a lot of time on the clock, and they can always change their mind. They do have an AWP to work with, and okay, that's a critical frag to pick up. With Shaney picking that one up, it really does seem like dire straits. Although Ollie doesn't spot out Voldigode? Are we going to go with that?
We're going to go with Voldigode, yeah, definitely. I think we should.
Oh, the
why not?
Twisters on this
I
game.
mean, you were saying this before the game started, and like, you know, it's nice to be back on ESEA. It's nice to be back doing, you know, intermediate ESEA as well. What's not nice though is the team names sometimes. Like, you know, it's great working for Tan, it's great working for VR because the team names are simple. Right back, freestyles. Do you know what I mean? Like Shaney, Pommy, Ollie, perfect, no issues whatsoever. And then you go up against teams like this where it's like every letter of the alphabet is part of their short name, and then every letter of the alphabet is their actual name, and you're like, okay, well, that's not good. I think what we'll end up doing from now on in is, rather than put a short name in for the team, we'll just do Dave or something, so that way then it doesn't come up with like BZ or 1B or 1 like these guys are. Just my own little, critique.
Well, it's definitely going to be a name to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they win the match, though, is another thing, because it does seem like Tan are starting to gain some confidence in their own plays and make those individual plays that we were talking about in the first half work on the CT side. Of course, their economy isn't going to be in the healthiest spot, as is often the case. CT side economy is always going to be fragile, but if they can keep players up on this round, specifically, then it's definitely going to help them moving forward. Oh, that's the barrel spotted out. Sorry. Unfortunately, though, Udfex does pick up the kill. Shaney, fast as you like, though. That's nice. It is just the AWPer, the top fragger, and the star player for VSE left alive now. He's going to be sent packing from the B site. As to where he ends up, I have no idea. But you know what? That's what we're here to bring you.
Yes, indeed. Had to back off to get himself bomb control, but he's making a lot of noise, and Shaney will dominate off the back of that noise and info given. And that's 8-13. I mean, that's 2 big rounds recovered back, into the second half. That's pretty good going from a team time perspective. Yes, we're a few rounds into it, and VSC have called quite a few rounds off them, but I still think there's still fight left in the boys, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there absolutely is. I was just taking a moment to check through the ADR. Shaney's actually having an outstanding half so far. 149 ADR. CT side AWPing is one of the sweeter things in life. We saw Udfex in the first half put on their showcase, but Shaney's going to put one on of his own.
Yes, he will indeed. Apologies, I'm just transitioning back because I had to check something very quickly on my end. There you go, we got gameplay back up now. Apologies for that. For some reason my auto director was not wanting to work, so I just fixed it very quickly, so you're not hearing me talk about stuff and Jammer talk about different things. Speaking of things, Palmy and Ollie both splitting the difference there as that push from Palace comes through, but Shaney's able to pick up the pieces. Palmy's the only player to fall, but a good eco round from Team Tan. To pick up that round off an eco round, I should say, from Team Tan's perspective. There we go. That is now a lot better, by the way, because I have been struggling to keep up with you and the frequent, oh my god, look at that, look at this, look at that. I'm like trying to flick between cameras, so now I can just sit back and relax. We're looking at the same thing here.
Sorry about that.
No, it's not your fault. It's my fault entirely. Oh, aggression from Palmy, straight up mid. There's a player slipped through the net, though, and that's going to be Prezik. Oh, one down.
Oh, he doesn't realise.
No, he does. He heard the footsteps. Palmy's just a little bit too eager to try and get that extra pick. I think those footsteps may be misplaced, or mistimed at least anyway, to try and get that frag. Freestyles will pick up Kingy. And also Prezik, and it's now in a 1v3 with Dudfex, as he said, top fragger from VSC with that AWP. Oh, he hasn't missed a lot, but that one he will.
That one might come back to haunt him, as Freestyles can clean up. Damn, that was, you talk about players who are put in, like, kind of not the best positions, and, when they don't show up, it's very, what's the word? It's, like, easy to see. I can't remember what the word is, but Freestylers, he gets put in a less than stellar spot and he comes out winning. He's got aces in the hand as he picks up 3, and that means that VSC are back on an eco. Doesn't look like they're going to go for the window nade strat. I do like this strat, but Shaney, he's absolutely in position to avoid that, but he drops down. So we're going to just, circle back to that narrative as Shaney gets rushed down. You know what? This is intermediate, and this is what's happening now. Voldigode is pushing through market with the bomb. There are 3 players over towards the B side of the map, but Ryback has his knife out. He's going to be able to pull it out and answer back in time, and I don't know what's going on, Nick.
Neither do I, to be completely honest with you, mate. Everything just went really, really super quick, super fast. I thought we were casting Splitgate for a second, the way the things were popping out all over the place. Like, what the hell just happened? VSC just went, you know what, let's just go from every direction possible, known to man on mid, and just try our best to just throw as many grenades down range as possible. But yeah, Shaney is in a really good position to start things off with, gets that initial pick, immediately fades away back down into tunnel, and then all of a sudden it's just like, everyone's coming at me, boys, please someone help me. I think that was probably the comments that went on in the background. But yeah, I don't know what just happened.
Mate,
I have
I'd
been
love
playing
to
Splitgate,
get-
by the way. That's why I hope people got the reference to Splitgate. Like, that's, it's all
Yeah,
we're here
I
for,
mean,
really, isn't it?
it really is. I'd love to be able to, take a little soundbite from the team speak when that happens and
Oh my
just
god,
hear
yeah.
the panic in Shaney's voice.
Help, help, help. Oh, right back. That one-way smoke's perfect for him there. Always going to get that extra frag. This
That's
spells
it.
disaster for VSC, though, because we've seen them play really weak when they're one player down, and, 2 players down, that fade, look at that, they're already backing off already. 3 players down. Bomb's
Oh, even
pulling
the flash
back.
peek.
Oh, that's just... Oh, that's naughty,
Love to see
isn't
that.
it? That is dirty.
The B site's open, boys. What's going on here?
Yeah, like, someone rotate back, please. I don't think Dudfex realizes, but, I mean, he's not...
Oh,
Oh,
dun,
yeah, super... What
There we go.
What an intuitive player to not go for the extra he gets freestyles.
All right, what we're doing if he gets this,
1v5
Nick?
ace or retake. I mean, that's never happening. Let's be completely honest with ourselves. Shaney's in a good position. Yeah, there you go, done deal. If you had got a 1v5, bro, you'd have ended the stream. We wouldn't have come back. You wouldn't have seen us until 10 o'clock tonight when we do the next game. Like, it would have been early night for me. Seen a bit. I mean, look at the scoreline. Like, I wish we could show it, but obviously ESEA doesn't give it to us. The round ended 9-6 in favour of Team 10. In favour of VSE in the first half. We're now 13-12, and Team 10 have literally just won back-to-back rounds, like non-stop. It's been a really, really, really good second half so far for Team 10.
Yeah, we saw a pretty good performance from VSC on their CT side, but Tan are matching up and then some. Are even able to pick up the first frag by virtue of a nade from Freestylers. Oh, Pommy, he's getting caught out, but the Deagle can't connect as Udfex. He heckles some shots into the distance, not quite connecting, but Kingy, he's able to capitalize on that. And Ollie falls. That means that the A site was periodically a bit weaker, but, Shaney's able to rotate around with the AWP, check the lines are clear, and now it's just a matter of Tan trying to find out where this hit's going to come from. Of course, we can see it's going to head towards the B site, but there's only one smoke, and if they just contact out, that could definitely spell a lot of trouble, because there's only one player spotting. There is freestylers in the market trying to help, but I'm sure that, his attention is being pulled in 2 places as middle's a bit weak, a little bit open. Oh, Shaney's not even going to spot anything on short, actually. That's even worse. The time's, ticking down, so Tan can make an educated guess, but Kingy spotted out Freestyler's barrel. Ryback gets the first, but it's just a matter of time before he falls. As VSC closed down on his position. It is 3 versus 2, but I hesitantly say that Tan are going to go for this. Shaney whiffs the first shot, and Udfex. Oh no. Okay, well, we're doing these things now. It's just Pommy in a 1 versus 2 as Shaney falls in the market, and he's going to have a little bit more patience. But I'm not sure he's going to be rewarded for any of it, because honestly,
do you go for
VSC,
this if you're Pommy?
I think he's trying to bait out some sort of movement, some sort of pick, but he can't get anything, and Udfex can, rattle a couple more notches on his scoreboard as he rounds out 30 on the 12th round of the second half.
Yeah, I feel like saving might have been a bit of a better option for Palmy. They've got good money backed up, so I mean, obviously, I know the minute that I say he should potentially be saving is the minute that you're going to go, you're wrong, and this is why you're wrong, because this is how our conversations always go. But for me, saving that AK into this round, that's one less weapon to buy up. That's a bit more money to throw into the mix there for the extra AWP. I don't know. I mean, it feels like it's not a misplay as such, but it's another option that's on the table for them.
Yeah, well, speaking of misplays, Ollie is going to commit one of his own, and that's going to mean that Ryback has to make some aggressions in the B apps. VSE can absolutely just slow things down, patiently wait out the smoke, and then just push in together if they wanted to. The world is their oyster with the man advantage, although Shaney picks up one in the window. It is just Hypem on the Mac-10, trying to get some info, trying to put, some pressure on Tan as they had that man advantage. But, I mean, they're not going to be too lost out of that player going down. It's just a matter of picking what site they want to go to now. Tan, they don't have any util to be able to hold off, an exec, but VSE, they're running a little bit low on utility. They can definitely throw some smokes over to the A site, but they could absolutely just contact out and pick up 2 kills. Gonna see how they're gonna opt to end things here as we round out to the end of this game. But Shaney on the perfect timing peak, not able to connect the second, but the info's enough. Tan can rotate, but Shaney gets caught out. Pommy gets the trade, and Voldigad and Kingy are left to round things out. It is just Voldigad now, cut off from the molly as everyone falls around him. There's 30 seconds to work with, but the 3 Tan players are hunting in the water. They can smell the blood, and they're gonna circle around him, entrapped every single angle, every single way that he goes, that he's going to find a Tan player. It's just whether he can connect the bullets, and that's going to be the end of him. Ryback bringing things to a close, and Tan, they're not out of the count just yet, because VSC, they don't have 15, they don't have 16, they're still on 14, and there's still everything left to play for.
Yeah, again, like I go back to what we were seeing from the first half from Tan. This genuinely feels like a completely different team in the second half, the way that they've been playing. They've been doing these really exotic kind of, these exotic plays, more or less, to try and recover additional frags from mid, which is nice to see from them. They're stacking up on sites quite nicely. We do have 2 on B at the minute, 3 on B, in fact, 1 covering from short. That Molotov will go down, not block off any kind of attempt at a push. The audio cues have come through, and Ollie's called it quite nicely, in fact, for Tan to block things off.
Now, because VSC have slowed things down here, that wasn't their option, that wasn't the goal for this round, but because they have, Tan now need to consider the options of the rotations and, be aware and prepared for anything else to happen. They are, able to ratify this B site and rotate in position. It's just a matter of now getting into this late round stage of, trying to figure out what kind of stack or, positions they're going to go for. It seems like there's only 1 player holding middle, and they're going to stick with this 3B setup as they're not hearing or seeing anything else across the board. And it's going to be the right option as VSC, they start to push out. Freestylers, he gets the first, gets the second, and it should be an easy cleanup as Shaney can chime in. Ryback does fall, but he should be the only one, ideally speaking. Ollie can use his second AWP to good advantage. And Palmy can close things out. There we go. 14-14 is the scoreboard, and this is starting to get close now.
I've seen that play from VSC with other teams before, and it is very nice to watch, and it's very nice to see it happen. Where you make like a shed load of noise pushing in towards B site from apps, and then you kind of like not make any noise, you fade away into the darkness, so to speak, into the shadows, but in reality what you're doing is you're kind of stacking, waiting for 40 seconds, I think it was, when they pushed out. Some teams do it at 30 seconds, and then you make that contact push through in without any like smokes or flashes to help yourself. It works on some occasions. It's disappointing not to see it work there, but still it's nice to see that teams are still taking advantage of the old school sort of tactics, at least anyway. 1-for-1 trade there from mid, and VSC is still trying to press the issue towards A, at least anyway.
Yeah, that first kill though is absolutely critical because that's a top performer from VSC, but this is it. The A pressures come through, and Tan, they were caught off guard, but they're able to stabilize, and now they're looking in the right directions. Palmy gets taken out from a nade as well as his teammate Freestylers, but a 2 versus 2 could be anyone's game. VSC, they're going to slow things down a little bit. They have a little bit of utility, but it is just Ryback and Shaney now waiting for VSC to decide what they want to do. Shaney's going for this aggression, and he's done this a couple of times. It's whether he spots the player going around the corner. I'm not quite sure if he saw them, but Ryback is going to rotate off. Now, initially, I didn't, anticipate VSC getting the entries and frags that they did, but this 2 versus 2 situation, it's definitely a bit of a hairy spot to be in for either team, and it's a nice edge right now for a pivotal round in the match.
Yeah, I mean, Kingy is the one who's swinging the damage there. He's done that time and time again against EsportsWales. Oh. That's quick reactions from Ryback. Shaney finishes that off. That's lovely play from EsportsWales. What I was trying to say is Kingy's done that time and time again where he swung the scales in their favour, by doing those high impact frags. Again, I like the tactic from VSC to kind of fade away off the back of it. Once again, get themselves into a position where they look like they potentially could swing around to B. They still have time to swing around to B as well, but in reality, it's to sell Ryback false info by getting him to back off away from the side to give him a bit more time. Obviously, they don't know which Ryback that's moving. We do, of course. But yeah, I kind of like that from VSC. It's a shame that it doesn't obviously play out in the end because Ryback is just super quick with that M4. I mean, that is that's a punishing frag onto VSC, frankly. And this is why we're now in the position of 15-14, and VSC do have quite a fair bit of cash to buy themselves into this round. They're not going to be able to get an awful lot of utility to work out with, but it should, placed in the right positions, work quite nicely and quite well for them. A double pause coming in, I think that might be Volgadad. We're going to go with Volgadad. Perhaps needing a couple of seconds there. He's the only player not to abort up, but Team Tan got money in the bank to spare. They've got a lot of utility to kind of put into it. I kind of, this feels like it's going to be 16-14 in favour of Team Tan, in fairness.
Well,
am I going to say now? That? Yeah, no, I shouldn't have said anything. What am I doing in my life? My God.
For the viewers at home that don't know what that means, the caster curse is a very well-known and proven phenomenon. So now that Nick said that, everything's up in the air. And there we go. It's coming to fruition. Udfex gets the opening kill onto A, and they're going to explode off the back of that. VSE putting so much pressure on this A site. And, they could definitely gain some space. Udfex, he's trying to make his way out of Palace, but the rest of the team needs to push out ramp. Shaney's not connecting. It's all going wrong a little bit, but it's still on a knife's edge. There we go. That's a double for Ollie and Ryback to come into fruition, and that should help them stabilize, but VSE, they're going aggressive. Ollie, that's a nice positional angle to take, and he can pick up the first. Runs out of ammo on the second, and Ryback, he can't finish that one up. Oh, no. Oh, no. They know where Ryback is, and he's got low health. It's just about these last few kills, and there we go.
I should have said anything. Oh, I'm going to get... Oh, God. Please, I just want to say something very quickly before we wrap things up for the rest of the evening. I say the rest of the evening. For the rest of the evening for me at least, anyway, because I can imagine that Jakey's typing up a message currently going, "Right, you're fired. Never speak to us ever again. Never come back to us ever again. It's been nice having you for the one single game. But yeah, thank you anyway. That's Caster's curse. That's a terrible Caster's curse as well, isn't it?
Oh no, mate.
I'm never going to get away with that ever again.
I can't believe that's just happening.
I can't. I genuinely, in a round that would never have gone the opposite direction into any other circumstances if I had just shut my mouth. Anyway, to wrap things up, because we have an hour to burn before our next game for the evening, we'll be back later on with Team Ya. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the team name that they're going up against. I'll let you do it, Jammer, actually.
Should we just stick with Bomber for now? Yeah,
we're going to go with Bomber. We'll be back in about 45 minutes to 50 minutes for the next game for this afternoon, or this evening, I should say. I'm ReaperSteve. Jammer.
Are we not doing overtime?
Is there overtime? There's no overtime.
There is overtime.
What? There's no overtime, you edit. There's never any overtime.
There is overtime. I was wondering
new?
What's going on.
Is this new? Am I actually dumb? Is this...
I swear, guys, we're professionals, okay? I swear
No. Since when does the ESEA have overtime?
Okay, well, overtime started, so I'm just going to talk through what's happening.
I'm jumping back into it. I've got like 16 different messages from
VSC,
Jakey.
They're going to go for this B rush again. Ryback has the AWP. He's able to get the first one, and that's going to slow things down a little bit. VSC, they're going to continue to push out with some mollies, and they're given a bit of space to do so. But Freestylers, he's going to do a little bit more defensive work as he picks up 1.5. And I say a half because the player that he lit up only has 10 health. Ryback can close that one out, and it's just Udfex, the top performer, who gets taken out to close things out. And Tan, they pick up the first overtime round. Boys, what's going on?
Okay, I apologize, everyone at home. I genuinely do. Just ignore me. It is what it is. Okay, we're back. I promise. I apologize wholeheartedly. Why I didn't think there was OT, I have no idea. I'm not even gonna invoice EsportsWales for this one from me. Jakey, don't pay me for this one. Pajama my one. Okay, there you go. How does that sound? Pajama twice, because he's the only one that's actually been prepared and knows what the hell he's on about. And it's just me sat here clicking buttons like I'm trying to do things working. I even got out my chair and everything. I was ready to go. I was going to go make dinner. It's going to be perfect. Anyway, right back. We'll start the second round of OT. I'm done. I think we're at that point, ladies and gents. Anyway, yes, moving forward. I love the fact that I don't even want to look at my Discord because I can see just like a red number next to Jakey's name. And I don't want to know how many numbers that is. All banter, of course, yes. Apologies, everyone. Shaney. Do you know what? Super impressed with Shaney on the AWP.
Oh no. Guys? There we go.
There we go. Okay.
Alright. Freestylers can clean things up. Oh, mate.
Sort of. That was EsportsWales playing exactly like my commentary at that point in time, wasn't it? Everything was falling apart, then all of a sudden they recovered. It's just perfect. Shaney has been genuinely. Can we talk very, very briefly about Shaney with the AWP? I mean, he's not missing, is he? I mean, he's had a few close encounters, should we say, in the first half, but second half he's been on point. Right back. What are you? Oh, okay.
He didn't even have the spawn for that. Man's just feeling audacious.
That's a matchmaking play right there. That's, you know what I mean? Like, I go mid, and you're like, yeah, crack on, mate, you do you.
Oh no, that's the moment where the Russian guy starts shouting at you for dying so early, but
yeah.
hopefully Tan are going to have a bit more camaraderie as they try and stabilize things. Ollie can answer one back, and that's a critical fight to win for Pommy there, pushing out of ramp, or taking on the player pushing out of ramp, but Shaney gets caught off guard. Freestylers. He's put in a fantastic, bit of work today. Mm-hmm. He's often not going to be the top of the scoreboard, but he's been in the critical spots where it matters most. Udfex, though, he spied out the player. He takes a shot, so that at least lets Pommy be aware of the fact that he's there, but he's pushed into the open arms of Kingy, and this is an awkward 2 versus 2 now because they can hear them rotating around in the window area, so they're going to be aware of their locations. It's just a matter of timings and the plays that are made. Freestylers patiently waiting behind the smoke as Ollie repositions at CT, and this is all going to be contingent on this fight right here. Udfex, he takes one fight, lives to tell a tale, takes Freestylers out, and he's just going to sit behind sight, flash out, and just buy some time because he's put in his shifts of work and he can call it a day, but Ollie, the game sense isn't there, and he just gets taken out. That will conclude the first half of overtime. So, Nick, don't go anywhere.
Yeah, no, not doing anything. Professional. Like, genuinely. What a professional commentary crew that the both of us are. This is why I work best with production stuff. Like, Jakey, for example, I'll always sing the man's praises. This is exactly why I work with Jakey, because Jakey's like, what are you doing, you ad case? You're supposed to be playing the second half. Sort your life out.
I can't believe that happened.
We're not going to talk about it. It never happened. I don't know what you're on about.
This is going to be an inside joke for everyone here.
Yeah, I'll delete this VOD. Don't make me. I will. It'll happen. Like, this VOD will disappear. I promise you that.
The time police just appear out of nowhere, remove this VOD from existence. Oh no.
I'm currently typing a message up to John to bribe him, into deleting this VOD and making sure it never ever sees the light of day. Anyway, moving forward. Second half of OT.
What's the magic number they need to get, Nick?
I'm not doing this. We're not doing this right now, okay? I'm an elderly man, okay? You even said the other day about me being an OAP and all that kind of stuff. I can now get a bus pass. I think it was Jakey who actually said to me that I can now get a bus pass on Friday when it was my birthday. But yeah, it's been a long day, okay? Leave me alone. Anyway, 16-17 is your scoreline in favour of Team Tan as we go into the second half of OT1. That is the first OT for everyone who's watching. Not that the game finished or anything. I just saw the green words come up and I was like, game's over. There you go. I'll close this down. ESEA, just so everyone's on the same page, because I normally do this every single time, and I don't know why I didn't think of it this time around, but whatever. On OT, ever start at 16,000, you buy down from 16,000, it resets after every what's the word I'm looking for? 3 round half. Yeah, there you go. See, then and it just resets itself at that point. So this is why you're seeing first round of the second half OT where AKs and AWPs are being bought. I know there are a few people in chat saying that it's their first time watching CS, so that's the reason why. Anyway, Didfex in a really good position, takes Sheeny down on the initial push into a side. He's going to get Molotov out of position, but there's no one there to really answer. Yeah. The lack of positioning from EsportsWales to really lock down that kill. That's the point where that round's lost, if I'm honest. Yeah,
it's that round is all about their nade usage and positioning or spacing between them as they push out there. They give way too much space to Udfex to push out and swing onto the right side of triple, which is really the only place he can go, and should be a player just waiting for him there, but it's not the case, and he can easily clean that one out. Now, that was the first round of this second half of OT, but the magic number you need to get to is 19 rounds, and that will conclude this map. But there's only 3 rounds and a half, so if EsportsWales TAN want to close this out, they need to win these following 2 rounds. Now, VSE, they're definitely going to try and put up a formidable obstacle, and Udfex, he's going to mount that obstacle that much higher as he picks up the opening frag. And, of course, Nick did say at the start of every one of these overtime halves, they get max money, so that's $16,000 dues to spend on all the bells and whistles that they want to use. They are putting them to good effect, as, you did see Udfex get that opening kill, and based off that opening frag, actually, they're able to reposition themselves into a semi-passive setup, but the beautiful thing about the setup is they can rotate really quickly after getting that initial bit of info. It is a bit more passive on B than it is on A, but that's just by virtue of the map. You are going to see TAN start to execute A here, or at least throw one smoke out towards the jungle area. That's a good 1-for-1 trade, but the bomb is dropped, so they need to recover that before they think about planting. Both of the AWPs from VSE sat in CT. That'll be the first one taken out, but the star player is still up and running, and if he's on the board, could be anyone's round. Freestylers can spot one out in jungle, and that information is key. Even though he gets dinked down low, they can at least reposition exactly like that. Pick up another frag from, Shaney, but he gets taken out. Sorry, I lost my words for a minute there. Udfex, he's doing imaginary things,
Udfex.
and sorry about that. I just lost my words.
No, the man is just filthy, isn't he? I mean, like, how does that happen like that for a player? He's in a really good position to take the first. That's perfect. The second player, okay, it's amicable that he can potentially get it. Like, it's not a it's not a done deal, but it's a 50-50 where he gets that second. The third one, however, is just bang on the money, exactly where you want it to be placed.
Yeah.
Some people in chat already doing the old matchmaking. He's cheating.
Okay, that's going too fast, but Udfex gets taken out early by Shaney. I don't know if auto director's broken.
No, mine went to third person for some reason as well, but I've just hit it again and it seems to work, so it's like the age-old technique, Jammer. If you hit it with a hammer, it tends to work okay after a few strikes. Trust me.
Does that work for when you mistake a game ending as well?
Just be thankful I took a gulp of water there, yeah. Like a big old gulp of water, and you're already ripping on me. As an elderly man, you should respect your elders. Speaking of respecting your elders, freestyles get sent to the grave relatively quickly there. I think that's it.
Yeah, that is actually the actual end of that game.
Just so everyone's aware, chat, the reason why we're still in game is just in case it's not and everyone wants to mess me around again, okay? There you go. Nonetheless, however, it is what it is. Never going to hear the end of this at all. The game's now over, Steve. See, I'm already getting it from chat straight away. Perfect. Thank you for that, gents. I appreciate it. Team Yar is next up for us, though. However, we are going to take a short break. The stream will go off, and it'll be back up in about 40-ish minutes, would you say, Jammer? 50 minutes?
Yeah.
something like that. But we're going to both take a well-deserved break after our first game back, after the player break and our own break. And we'll see you for Team Yar later on this afternoon, or this evening. Why am I saying this afternoon? It's 10 o'clock at night. What's going on? Everything's gone wrong here. I'm going to end screen.
You know what?
We're done.
If you want more comedy antics, just join us back here at 10 p.m.
There you go. That works. That's perfect. There you go. We'll see you at 10 o'clock.